Welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Show. This is going to be a fun episode. We're talking about how to go raw vegan, top 10 tips, and we are pulling from what we've learned from the transition to veganism. I know me personally, I had a very short transition because I had, community, and the food was always good. So it's like for me, veganism was easy because I basically did it alongside my husband. He's a great cook. We had great, clean, healthy vegan food where we lived at the time. Whole Foods and Trader Joe's was walking distance. I mean, with all of that, like, it wasn't hard. It really wasn't hard. So we're going to go through these tips. And the first tip is to try raw vegan day each week, right? They got meatless Mondays going on in New York now. I mean, they've been doing it for a while. If we do the same thing with raw veganism, I mean, have one day of the week that, you hear that?
I don't hear anything.
Is that a bird?
Yes. Oh, because I opened the window because it's so hot here, Sam. I can't I'm going crazy.
Okay, so how hot is it in New York right now?
I don't know, but whatever it is, it's too much for me. I can't take it.
Okay, windows are open, so Birds is on the podcast today. That's fine. They're part of nature. They're beautiful. They tend to be quite talkative. So,
And it must. We are talking to them.
It must be the guy trying to attract the woman.
Most likely, all the time. Yeah.
All the time. So yeah, what do you think about that, Ma? Just one day a week, raw vegan. And I think Sunday is a great way to do it.
Oh, what I think? No, Sunday would not be the best day. Not for the household that I have.
Why?
Okay, but raw vegan for me can be any day of the week. Sunday is fine for me too, but it's not the household. Because I know what I'm dealing with, not the household. And it's, I mean, every day for us is a meatless day.
Yeah.
But
And so one day could be raw. You know what I know Jamaicans are into is what they do every year is called a washout, right? So if you apply the washout mentality to one day a week, and when Sunday be a good day because it's the Sabbath, or if your Sabbath is on a Saturday, then do it on a Saturday, but you have your washout the same day as your Sabbath.
I could do it personally, but not the rest of the household.
All right, we'll see. We'll try again with them. So tip number 2, start making raw vegan milks. That's an easy way because it's really easy to make milk. First of all, you could get the almond cow, which I think makes it even easier. It's like a machine. You just put the nuts in or something, and then you get nut milk. Or you could just use a blender. It's basically like, I think, a quarter cup of nuts and then a cup of water or something. It's mostly water.
Yeah, just like how you juice coconut. Yeah. Coconut milk. Mm-hmm.
And then you make milk. So if you make that, then you're already getting in some raw vegan into your system, right. Some enzymes, because that's the reason why we're doing it. We're doing it. I know for me personally, everybody has their own reason. It's really great to release excess fat. For me personally, it's like critical for my digestion, right? I have to have raw foods, especially if I'm having beans, anything cooked. If I want to be mentally alert, not be lethargic, and not feel horrible because it just basically helps me digest my food. So I think like just at least with the raw vegan milks, you get it even cleaner because even the milks out there, even though they're vegan, they have like fillers, carrageenan, xanthan gum, and all these types of preservatives and things.
Which is true. Yeah, which is horrible.
Yeah. I mean, why if you don't have to? Yeah. Now, another tip is eat raw vegan at home. So this was actually how I managed to get myself to like water. I think I told the story before about how I hated water. But then in college, I decided that I should really get into water, and I was commuting. So I made a plan with myself. Since I knew I was out the home more than I was in the home, I decided I would only drink water when I'm out the home. Yeah, so back in the day at that time, I remember you would shop at Costco and there would be some really great juices and stuff that I wasn't ready to give up. So I would just drink water outside the home and then drink whatever inside the home. And that helped me to build up a taste for water. And now I love water. Now water is the default drink for me. So I think this is, could be a really helpful tip. If you were at home, I think more now since a lot of people are still working from home. If you eat raw vegan at home and then eat cooked when you're out, because especially when you're in transition, traveling can be difficult. Visiting family who thinks even veganism is strange, so even just raw veganism is like, it's just another leaf. So it's just easier to just be flexible so folks aren't asking you so many questions, It's worth
if you visit family, and I know that family should be able to have some kind of vegetables or stuff, It might not be raw, but there's salad. You can fill yourself up on a salad. You could have all the salad, ain't nobody gonna touch it. If you're there, are we speaking from experiences?
Yeah, that's why every time we travel, our first stop is the grocery store. To get what we could eat, because we don't expect for anything to be there waiting for us wherever we go.
Yeah, we don't want to cramp anybody's style,
Yeah. Except we do need refrigerator space.
We go prepared. We are prepared human beings.
Yeah.
And when I travel on the aircraft, and a lot of people can do that, when they travel on the aircraft or by road or whatever, I don't stop and eat anything or drink anything. I carry water and I carry nuts. And I munch on nuts, because nuts make you thirsty. And once you eat a couple nuts and you drink some water, you're filled. So you don't have to stop and eat.
This is true.
Or apple. Apple is the best. Apple, I don't know about you and apple, because I don't think you like apple.
I love apples.
Oh, excuse me.
I don't know. But when you heard I didn't like it.
Apple is the best, for my snack.
I have a good one to show you. Hold on.
Yeah.
Look what I got at the store. I don't know if you could tell how big it is.
That is huge. That is organic, Sam?
Yep, organic. And I could show you the 9 so you can see.
But you know what I have issue with? Because that's the ones I eat. But one of them is just too much for one people. When they're big like that.
It's a whole meal. This is what I call value size apples.
Yeah, those are the ones I buy though. Those are the apples I buy.
And they're so juicy. I love them.
Yes.
And, we both read and love Fiber Fuel, Dr. Will Bulshewitz's book. He's coming out with a cookbook soon, a recipe book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the whole book, just recipes, which I think should be interesting.
He does have some nice recipe in the book. I love his salad dressing them,
Yeah. And what he said about the apples and the probiotics and prebiotic in it, like it's just an all-in-one, everything good for the gut bacteria. I noticed, I could have an apple morning, midday, night, and not have any gas, bloating, anything. So it's it's like the perfect snack for any time of day.
Yeah. I love apple. I usually eat it in the middle of the day because I don't do lunch, so I have breakfast and then I eat apple and then it's dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, that's the tip number 4, 1 raw vegan meal each day. So this is a little bit more intense than 1 day a week where you just do, which I guess would be like all your meals, your 3 meals and your snacks and stuff. But you could do 1 raw vegan meal a day, which is actually pretty simple because, I've done this consistently. Like breakfast for is my raw vegan meal. Typically, is my raw vegan meal breakfast. Where I'd have a smoothie.
Okay. Right. Oh, the smoothie. I
Or
don't
at
do
one
smoothie.
point, I was
I tell you
doing
about this.
the raw
The
vegan oatmeal,
smoothie.
remember, with the apple and the walnuts and stuff, which was delicious.
Remember what I tell you about living north for a lot of people? Smoothie in the winter time can be a little not so real because when you get up in the morning, the place is cold, your body is cold, and this is me talking now who can take the cold. But for me to have a smoothie in the morning, it's not a natural thing for me. I rather it in the middle of the day. But now that the time is getting hot, that will be a perfect breakfast meal.
Yeah. And for those who may be listening for the first time, we've talked a lot about this on the podcast. I make my smoothies a little differently than my mom because I don't use frozen fruit. I only use frozen fruit if I need it to be cold. So usually my smoothies are room temperature, just like my fruits are room temperature, because I don't put my fruits in the fridge. Everything is just room temperature. So like wintertime, I don't really have an issue with getting cold. I only have get cold once I have frozen fruits in my smoothies, which I rarely do, you know. Um so that's
And
tip number. Yeah.
just for the record, your mom like her fruits cold. The only thing that don't go in the fridge is banana. But I love cold fruits. My apple, oh, nothing like a nice cold apple.
Yeah, and for me my teeth are so sensitive. I don't put my fruits in the fridge at all. Especially to give myself the option of just eating them whole. But I do know, like raspberries. Raspberries are so sensitive. I have to put them straight in the fridge. And even then, sometimes, you take it out and there's mold already growing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're very
So
sensitive.
it
Yeah.
gets tricky
To
with
the
the with
touch.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And strawberries, I noticed too. Strawberries are more resilient than raspberries, but strawberries you can't keep them around too
Well,
long.
you buy organic strawberry, and after 2 days, you better wash those strawberry that you don't use and throw them in the freezer because you can't have fresh strawberry.
Yeah.
That's my experience. Yeah.
So tip number 5, buy whole foods instead of processed foods. And this is it, because like when you're home, especially for me, it takes work to leave the house, go grocery shopping and stuff. So I usually go grocery shopping with a list. So with the list, you're basically planning in advance how you're going to eat. If you're health minded and health conscious, you got all your healthy stuff. So you're home, let's say you have a feeling for some junk food or whatever, you have to really go out of your way to get it, right? So this kind of helps you stay eating whole, clean foods, and especially raw, depending on what you bought and what you put on your list. So
Right.
if that list is whole foods instead of processed foods, and you just maintain, then it just makes the journey a little bit easier.
Hmm. True.
And then number 6, go to raw vegan restaurants. I have a picture here, a throwback picture of our restaurant, Ertiling Cafe in Chicago, and the team. Try different places and how they're making raw vegan dishes, because that's how sometimes people say, I'm bored, I'm tired of eating the same thing all the time. This is how you can incorporate some fun stuff. I know for me personally, a lot of times these restaurants are doing a lot of dehydrated stuff and more complicated recipes that I would never do, because I don't got that kind of time, and
Right.
I'm just not willing to even get a dehydrator and wait 24 hours for a cracker or something. It's not worth it for me. You know what I'm saying? For me personally. I'd rather have a salad. I enjoy my salads and it takes 2 minutes. So, it's just we're all different. But you go to the raw vegan restaurant and you try different things. Like Chicago Raw, I remember had this really great mix of cashews and onions, dehydrated and seasoned, and it was delicious. You
Wow.
know, I know, yeah, but it's not something I would make, and so but it was nice to have as a treat and stuff.
Yeah, I don't like when I don't, especially with fruits and so I don't like to dehydrate fruits. I don't like dehydrated fruits. I like fresh fruits. to be honest with you. I don't like to mess with fruits. Fruits is ready to be eaten. You don't have to do anything to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with dehydrated fruits, that's where, I'm always concerned about teeth, because really that's what gave me all these cavities was back in the day, those candies. And the dehydrated fruits is basically just a step down from that, Yeah. There's no water. So it's just, concentrated sugar basically, and it's sticky on the teeth and whatnot. But some people really like it, and they do have their value. Raisins and stuff like that, if you're making raw vegan cereals, if you're making raw vegan cookies, or different, raw vegan like pies and things like this. Dehydrated fruits can come in handy with those.
Right, yeah.
So tip number 7, learn to make new raw vegan recipes. This could be something you incorporate in your one raw vegan day for the week, or your one raw vegan meal every day. Just having a schedule where you learn to make a new recipe to just kind of expose yourself. And we just did one recently in our Raw for Lent live experience where we were trying all of these recipes from Raw Foods on a Budget book, which we will be doing more of that and just experimenting with these different recipes, because folks are doing some really interesting things. I saw raw vegan Jamaican patties on YouTube, which I think is really interesting. I know.
Wow.
I know. So folks are getting creative, Tip number 8, make sure to get a balanced raw vegan diet. So that includes fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. So you're getting everything, God has to offer in terms of the nutritional building blocks for our bodies. Make sure we're not depriving ourselves. Make sure we are satisfied. We're not starving. Because when you get hungry, that's when you fall off, and cravings hit really hard because you're just not eating enough. And then sometimes, especially in transition, we need the comfort foods and things. That's where the nuts and seeds, those heavier things, the fats, healthy fats, come into play and really, help with that. Then number 9, follow raw vegan accounts on social media. Social media, we're on it every day, most of us. So instead of having stupidness on your feed, have something that's going to inspire you in the direction you want to go. Right. And I have a list of names here. It's probably hard to see, but this same list is on the show notes on the blog, linked, so you can just click on it, follow all these people. They're all really positive, putting positive messages out there, and some even have recipes and things to just keep you focused, because your community, you're most like the people you hang around, right? So if you're focused in a certain community and paying attention to that, you tend to gravitate in towards that direction. So you're just going to find yourself eating more fruit, eating more vegetables, just watching them, just logging on to Instagram and all the things and just watching these people. You're just going to naturally gravitate. And then the final tip, find foods that you love. And I have a picture here of kiwis. I love kiwis. I love fruits.
Me too.
All the different fruits. Yes. And there's just so much variety. Every month there's something different,
But, for people who live in the north, this is a good time for them for fruits and vegetables, because the time is warm, and we're just hoping that we can get the stuff in off the shore,
Yeah. Every time you say in the north, it reminds me of Game of Thrones. You've never seen that show, have you?
No, never.
Because it's always in the north. We're in the north.
Well, people live in a colder climate there.
Yeah. Yeah, same like Game of Thrones.
I might have to watch it. Okay.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's so good. But yeah, it's a different experience up there. Right now in Florida, we're in the 80s. It's getting close to 90s this weekend.
I'll be dead. You could bury me. So
yes, if you're in Florida, you putting frozen fruit in all your drinks right now. Probably making juices and making those into ice cubes or something, because I've been working out inside. Remember I told you I was doing a running program, but
It's too
we're
hot.
not going outside. Yeah. We're not gonna go run outside and pass out.
Bye, Florida.
But it's nice, if you go out in the morning or in the evening when it gets cooler.
Okay. All right.
And me personally, I love the heat. I'm like, bring it on, bring it on. It could be 100 and I'll just take it. How do you feel about those tips, Ma? You think that
Very helpful. Very, very helpful, Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that the 1 day a week raw, it makes sense, because it's just like how people would say, okay, so I'm going to eat for this many days and I'll fast. You can use your 1 day raw as a detox, yes. Because raw stuff does detox the body. And the body needs to rest from so much cooked food,
Yeah.
And those are people who are vegan, but they cook like myself, who cook a meal every day. Everything is vegetarian, but it's hot meal. So the 1 day, I incorporate raw along with my meal. So it's not everything that we eat is really cooked.
Mm-hmm.
But to just do raw 1 day is a good idea.
Yeah, and I would say vegan because you don't do dairy or eggs, right? But the other thing too is that my lifestyle is more of a high raw, and so it's like I don't do 100% raw because one, they're root vegetables that I like to eat. Sweet potatoes, although right now we're off sweet potatoes because the environmental working group said there's arsenic in all the sweet potatoes. They don't want any mothers who have babies. Yes. They don't want any mothers who have babies buying any baby food with sweet potatoes. So, which is why I had stopped doing rice. I mean, the rice too, I did a whole blog post on grains and how it affects the body, and then the issue with the arsenic, and so you have to make sure you see where it's coming from. But now we have the issue with the sweet potatoes, so I'm off the sweet potatoes. But besides that, there's a lot of great root vegetables that I love, like all the squashes, butternut squash, acorn squash, all of that.
Yeah.
And you can't eat that raw.
I'm a squash person. Any one of the squash, just give it to me.
I shouldn't
And
say
you
you
can
can't eat it raw. Some people are eating it raw. I wouldn't
Oh
eat
yeah,
it raw.
because you can have spaghetti squash raw. Because we
This
did
is
one
true.
of that over the summer. Yeah.
Yes, this
We
is
did
true.
that meal and it was very nice, which that one I'm gonna do again because it was
Yeah.
very, very nice. Yeah.
But how did you cut that though? Because I find butternut squash. I remember
My
the last
Cutco knife.
time
My Cutco.
you need good knives
I have my Cutco. I have a cleaver.
and
I have a
strong
cleaver,
arms.
everybody.
They don't come by my house.
I have a cleaver. It cut bone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The squashes are really difficult to cut if you don't have arm strength.
And I put it on my cutting board, and I don't have to chop. I just press it down, and it go through. Those
Press
Cutco
it
knife,
down. Oh,
press it.
okay. That's good.
You have to have strong arms.
You do, and you have strong arms, so
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you know what? These foods are really powerful because butternut squash in particular, I remember last time I tried to make it, I peeled it first, and as I'm peeling it, I'm holding it, and then I have to cut it. And then I noticed it cut up the skin on my hand, the enzymes from the butternut squash.
Oh,
You
but
know.
if you have a cut board, you have to peel it.
No, it's just the juices from the butternut squash in particular.
Oh, but you put it down on the board. Don't put things in your hand to cut it because you can cut your hand.
I'm holding it like this. It's the
Oh
juices.
yeah, yeah.
The
Okay,
enzymes.
yeah.
That's why I say it's really powerful. Just like how you'll have, or I've had, like you eat kiwi or pineapple, and you feel it's like biting at you. It's that strong, the enzymes, this is why it works so great. Like I know my digestive system loves that, but my hands, not so much.
But the butternut squash, you can also steam them. Just put it over a steamer, and you don't have to cook it very soft. Steam it, and just like when you do vegetables,
like broccoli and
water
stuff.
boil, you turn it off, and you just leave it sitting there.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like for me, raw veganism opened me up to a world of like how to eat minimally processed, no to minimal processing. There's very little oil in the diet. You're not having any refined sugar, right? Because everything you're using is whole foods,
Right, yeah.
And the whole idea is to not cook things till they're basically dead and not useful to the body. And
Exactly.
With that in mind, for me, I don't find it necessary to be 100% raw, but if you're in a chronic issue, you're dealing with a chronic condition you're trying to reverse or something serious, then there's more, I feel like a pull to do 100% raw. But just if you're trying to maintain or just be the healthiest version of yourself, I think a high raw diet is sufficient. And some of these tips really help you get there. I remember we had Matt come in and visit us during the Raw for Lent experience, and he talked about the fact that he wasn't necessarily just trying to be 100% raw. It wasn't like a goal necessarily. He just like every day was doing something towards it, and eventually he just ended up that way, And so if we're not like holding ourselves to like, oh my God, I gotta be in a diet or whatever, this is not what this is about, because I'm not into diet culture. I'm just into healthy living. And I believe you're the same too, Ma. It's just about keeping the body healthy.
I don't diet because this body gonna be what this body gonna be. I make sure I try to eat healthy and do my exercises in the morning, and people of my age, they can relate to what I'm saying. You get up and you do your stretching. The stretching is very, very important to stretch out your body in the morning. And that's important. Exercise and eat healthy. That's all. Don't worry about how your body look. Appreciate what you have. You have a body. Yeah. Because some people look at themselves and say, oh, I'm too skinny. Some people look at themselves, I'm too fat. I mean, you have a body,
That
Enjoy
works.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. God so truly bless you with.
Yeah.
As long as you know you're not doing something to damage that body. Just enjoy.
And treat it with the utmost respect.
Hello. Yes.